Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. How are y'all doing? Good to be back. I had a long day yesterday where I spent the entire day away from my computer, but it was for a good purpose. But I yearn to be back working on Alka Mortis, and here we are. So we're just going to be doing a bunch of odds and ends things today. I'll show you some of the work that I got done over the weekend. I got some UI updates done in terms of art, as well as some cool, more technical stuff. So I'll show you all that in a second. And then as far as what we're going to be working on, I've got a bunch of random odds and ends things that I want to knock out. This to-do list is pretty long, but a lot of these things are easy to do. So I do need to set aside time to actually rigorously test the new map system because I haven't done so yet, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, before I get into it, I want to remind everyone that Alka Mortis is available for wishlisting. So if you're interested in that, it's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can create your own synergies using alchemy. So if that sounds fun, definitely give it a wishlist. You could also support the game on Patreon. If you support at the $15 a month tier here for at least 1 month, then I will send you an Alka Mortis Steam key when the game launches, so you won't have to buy it on Steam, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alka Mortis credits. And you can also support me by purchasing my Udemy courses if you've been wanting to learn how to make games in the Godot engine and you like the way that I do things, or you like the way that I teach. These are courses that I made. So there's 4 different courses and you can choose whichever one is most interesting to you. And every purchase of the course helps me out a lot. So definitely appreciate that. But you can also join the Discord. That's totally free. All the ways that you could support me and the game are linked below. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Okay. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome. Good morning, Nathan. Good to see you. Christian, welcome. Good to see you. Oh man. I don't know how to say your name. D. Wernack? Hello, welcome. Good to see you. Okay. So let me show you one thing that I did over the weekend. So I updated some of the UI elements. I updated the panels again. Hello, TK. Oh, I got it. Nice. Okay, good. Good. So I updated some of these panels. The basic panel here now has just kind of the same motif as the unlock screen. So it's got like the stone pillars. I might actually end up making this larger, thicker. I brightened up the buttons. The default button state is now like a brighter red, so they look more clickable. So I guess I'm kind of moving into clickable elements being more like orange rather than purple. So just trying to be consistent there, and then this looks much better up here, I think, with the with these buttons being a different color than like the background elements. So I'll probably do a fourth state, because there's the hover state, pressed state, and normal state. So I'll probably do a 4th state for when a header is selected. Just so that it's obvious like which section you're on, because that's gonna be necessary. But I also updated the scroll bar, so the scroll bar just looks again more like rocky pillars here, and this has also been brightened to indicate that it's a clickable element. So anyway, those were some of the UI changes that I made. And then one of the more interesting technical changes I made is I now have the ability to pass internal state of an ability to the duplicated ability. So the reason why this was necessary is, like, I was talking about this on the last stream we did, but the Flagrum here, this gains 2 damage permanently the first time that it's paralyzed in combat. So every time it gets paralyzed in combat for the first time, it gains 2 damage. The problem is that the way the alchemy system works is that it will take this composed ability, which gets added to the list of composed abilities here. It will take this composed ability and it will duplicate it so that I'm not sharing references. So I don't want to end up in a situation where I'm taking one ability off of one card and putting it on another, but now they're sharing the same ability reference, which means that when one ability triggers some kind of state update, then the other ability will, it's the same underlying ability. So the same ability shared between 2 cards will be updating twice as often, essentially, as it should be. Or not as often as it should be in some cases. And so I need to duplicate the ability to create a brand new instance of that ability. But the way that I'm defining my abilities is they're all defined in this anonymous function here, passed into the constructor. And the return result is an ability configuration, which contains all of the building block abilities, the scaling function, the description function, so on and so forth. So I introduced a new getState and setState functions, which do exactly what they sound like. The getState function, if provided, will return any object that represents the state that I want to carry over. And the setState function will take in that object and modify the internal state based on that. And so the way that that works is if I go to my composed ability here, when duplicate internal is called, which is just part of the duplication process. So I've got duplicate here. I'm duplicating a bunch of properties, but I'm calling duplicate internal first. This is overridable, which is kind of redundant because I'm kind of moving away from this base composed ability. But that's just an artifact of how the game developed. Anyway, so this duplicate internal will invoke that getState. It will create the new ability, And then if the state is not null, it will invoke the set state on the duplicated ability. And then I have this static class where I have a static method where I can create a state transfer object. And this is a little bit weird because I could pass in a type here to determine what the type of get and set state should be, and that's for type safety when I define it up here. But what's ultimately returned is just a func that returns object and an action that takes an object. So that was necessary because this needs to live on the composed ability. So it needs to be super, super, super generic because it doesn't know what types are going to be in here. And I can't necessarily define that ahead of time because of the way that composed ability works with this ability factory function. But I can get the type safety in this create method, which is all that really matters. So we could see here that when I call create state transfer create here, I'm returning I'm returning a tuple equal to the stacks. First element is a stacks, second element is the previous stacks, which is part of the internal state here that needs to be tracked. And then because I know what the type is, the return type is of this function, so this returns a type of t, then it knows automatically in this same block that this argument being passed into this set state is that tuple. And so I get the type safety here, but I also get the generic func object, action object here for the composed ability. So anyway, that is the way that I have a framework now in place, or just maybe not a framework is not a good idea, not a good word, but I have a method now for transferring internal state whenever an ability is duplicated. So any abilities that I want to retain some kind of permanence, I can now do that. Tuple. Hello, okay, water, okay. Welcome, welcome. It's a tuple, it's a tuple. It's not a tuple because it would have to have two P's if it was going to be a tuple. Anyway, so what are we going to do today? That's a good question. I was thinking it might be interesting to add card tags to the tooltip. That would be cool. I say tuple as well, yeah. So I think adding cards to the card, or tags to the card tooltip, maybe adding a button to the main menu to access the unlock screen, that would be good. I want to fix this bug. I also kind of want to try messing with the VFX for the combat as well. So a lot of this stuff is kind of like polish stuff, but I'm not really in a spot where I want to work on a major overhaul again or work on balancing. So all this stuff needs to be done anyway, so I'm going to do that. But you can make an argument that playtesting the new map changes is the most important thing. But I'm fairly confident those are going to work. It's probably going to need a bunch of tweaks. Some like little additional sugar on top, little icing. But I think the new map structure is much better, generally speaking. So I'm not too worried about it, but added a rope simulation to my deck builder. Interesting. Does that have a gameplay purpose, or is it just for decorative? Is it just for decorative? Card tags to tooltip. That's going to be a tricky one, I think, because that's going to take up a lot of space. Do you try to split data and logic or use some other programming patterns? Do you think that sticking to strict clean code rules is really important? Hello, Bomb Bomb Dom. Well, I would say that I think clean code rules are important to follow, but I wouldn't really use the word strict. I've said this before, I'm more of like a pragmatic programmer, because sometimes like sticking strictly to the book adds a lot of overhead to implementing something that is not necessary. So for instance, if you're talking about like clean code, like from the book, one of the things the author recommends is that if you've got more than 2 arguments in a function, you should create a wrapper class to hold all the arguments. And I don't do that a lot of cases because most of the time I just like, I don't want to create a new class and then have to instantiate the class and then have to assign all the properties in the class. Like, I just want to pass in the arguments, you know? But yeah, I think it's generally appropriate to be writing your code as cleanly as is reasonable. I wouldn't say you should be strict and dogmatic about it, but the goal is your code easy to work on for you and your team? And you should do as much work as necessary to make that the case. And sometimes you can do things not by the book or not be so strict about it, but the most important thing is readability and clarity, right? Do I try to split data and logic? Again, like sometimes, but not really, you know? Like sometimes a class will contain the data and the logic. For maybe more complex systems, that won't be the case. So, I mean, like my board inventory component, for example, this is the thing that drives all of the behavior for placing cards on a grid. This is a 1200 line file, and it contains all of the data about the board, but also all the logic for placing cards on the board. And you can make an argument that this could be split up into data versus logic, but I don't really see a need to do that. Even though it's a 1200 line file, I know that my entire like board placement functionality and data is driven by this class, so I don't really see a reason to split it up, aside from being dogmatic about it. But even though it's a 1200 line file, it's very easily readable. Like I can go in here and make changes very easy because my methods are reasonably small. The method names are reasonably clear. And so it's not really a problem. Like I'm not going in here and going like, what the heck is going on? Most of the time. Sometimes for the more complicated stuff that's happening, it's a little bit tricky to understand. But for the most part, it's perfectly fine. Price tags of items are hanging. Oh, nice. Very nice. You can create unique icons for the different card tags and only show the icons in the tooltip. Yeah, I could do that. Which app do you use for project management? It is not OBS, Obsidian with the Kanban plugin. Do I use any kind of AI, not for writing code, but for making some ideas or judging your ideas from another point of view? Yeah, I've been using Claude recently to do a lot of, I would say, interactive rubber ducking is what I would call it. It's like not quite vibe coding, but it's also not quite like pure research. It's mostly like, hey, I want to accomplish this. What are some approaches? And then it gives me like 3 approaches, and I go, well, I like approach number 1, but can we modify it so that it has this? And like, what would that look like? And then usually what I'll do is I'll go in and write the function or write the feature myself after I've planned it with the AI. Because usually it's like, I don't want to just copy and paste the AI code because there are minor tweaks that I want to make according to my personal preference. And so, yeah, I use it quite frequently as a planning tool. And that just speeds up my workflow quite a bit. I also use it to identify bugs in my code that like I've probably saved several hours now already just by asking the AI to find the bug in my code instead of trying to figure it out myself. So yeah, it's definitely useful. That's why it's called Copilot and not Pilot. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Do we want to do icons for all the different minion tags? Let's do that maybe. Let's see what that would look like, or for all the different card tags. So, how am I going to do this? I think it probably needs to be a 9x9. Let's see, assets UI card. Where do I want to put this? I might as well put it in here. Let's do tag icons. Am I doing this wrong? New file. Let's do 9 times 5. Okay. All right, let's do view grid. Make this 9x9. We're gonna see if we can make tiny little itsy bitsy icons in here. And we will see. assets UI, card, tag icons.asprite, save. Okay, so let's just start with minion. I think I'll just make it the same color. So minion here. What are the tags we got? Let's see. Minion, relic, alchemical, ritual, weapon, and reagent. So I think actually weapon is probably a very obvious one. We obviously have to do a sword, right? I think it's going to be a little bit tricky. But something that like that is simple enough. I might just make this a flat color as well, so not do any shading. But we'll see how that looks. So this is obviously not a minion. We'll put this on the weapon layer and move this over here. Okay. Minion. How do I want to do the minion? Is it possible to do a tiny skull in here? I can actually make this bigger. So that looks a little bit weird because this weapon is kind of moving up against it, but let's see. Maybe we'll just do that. We'll just do that and call it a day. We're gonna have to see how this looks for sure. Okay, we have ritual. What should ritual look like? I don't know, maybe something like that. Kind of looks like a ritual circle a little bit. We're gonna have to see what these things look like in game, of course, but that's okay. Reagent, I have an idea for reagent. We're gonna try to make this look like leaves, if I can do it. Let's see. We're almost there, actually. That does not quite look like a leaf. This probably needs to be thicker up here. Actually, let me restart this. There we go. Okay. This may be easier if I put a background on this, so I could see this a little bit easier. I've been a dev for over 20 years and I love letting AI do 90% of the work these days. Yeah, I've heard a lot of cases of, devs who have been devs for 15, 20 years loving the AI stuff. Do you think this AI advice code writing is making developers more primitive or dependent? I think it's like any tool, if you're the kind of developer, like for example, a question that I get a lot of times is like, I'm doing a lot of tutorials and I can do the tutorial projects, but then when I go off on my own, I don't know what to do. And that is because essentially when you're taking the tutorial, you're basically just copying the code. You're just writing the code down. And for the people that have trouble getting off into their own projects, they're not really making an effort to understand it. And so they could create a tutorial project, a guided tutorial project, no problem. But when they want to go and create something on their own, they run into problems because they don't really understand it. And I think that same exact problem is going to be present if you over rely on AI. Like, yeah, an AI can vibe code something for you, right? But the problem is, what happens when the code base becomes too complex for you or the AI to understand, right? What happens when you don't know how to describe what you want to the AI and it just keeps going off and doing random stuff that works in a way that you don't even understand, right? It's like, that's going to be a problem, right? So I think it's still very important to understand how to write code. And that's excluding the case that the AI can make mistakes as well. Like sometimes I'll prompt Claude to do something specific, and even while it's planning, I don't let it use the agentic mode because I want to have control over all the changes that are made. But even when it spits out a plan, I'll read the code and be like, that line's redundant, or this line won't work because it didn't understand something about my system. And that could be my fault too, like not providing enough information in the prompt. But still, it's like, that's always going to be a risk, right? There's always going to be a risk that you don't provide enough information in the prompt, whether you have a good understanding of the system or not. So, it's still going to be imperative, I think, for you to understand the code that you're writing. That's just my opinion anyway, based on my limited experience with these AI models. That's probably okay. I could probably do a better leaf than that, but we're just going to call that good for now. Let's see her go away. Come on. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this every day, buddy. Oh, that looks better. Let's see. Yeah. I think that looks a little bit better. The problem is I'm doing this all... Okay, I like this better. Okay, there we go. I'm doing this all as a single color, so... Well, it's not technically a single color. I have two colors to work with. I have this blue color, and I have the black. So this is basically like doing 1-bit art style, where you have to use the black to create space. Anyway, let's see. Is it justifiable to choose a less optimized implementation if it improves readability? Yes, yes. Because most of the time, the thing that's going to improve readability is going to make such a negligible difference in your optimization that it's not even worth thinking about. So I always recommend taking the most readable, sensible, easy to implement approach first, and then only address the optimization problem when it becomes a problem. AI is a power tool as long as you're using your brain 100%. AI doesn't make devs lazy or dumb, it makes them 100x more efficient. Obviously, some people are going to abuse the tool and produce garbage. Yeah. I think to some extent the AI hype bros are like, maybe propagandized is a little bit hard of a word, but you'll see posts on, wherever, x.com, formerly known as Twitter, or other places where it's like, oh, I vibe coded this app one-shot prompt, and it's like perfect, and now software engineers are obsolete. But those like anything on the internet, those are just bait, those are just engagement slop, right? It's like, you don't know how much work went into engineering the context and the prompt to, like, you don't know how many times this person tried to one-shot the app before they made their post claiming that they one-shotted the app, right? It's like, how much detail was in their prompt, and, you know, how much context did they give? And even if they get something that looks like what they want, it's like, it's no different than something a competent, you know, software developer could have thrown together in like an afternoon anyway. So it's like, you know, I'm not really buying the hype, so to speak. Hello, Ninja Link. Welcome. Compilers are smart. I've found that they optimize better when you code for intent instead of trying to be crafty and optimal. Yeah, I think that's right. Dozens of millions of transactions a day. I do game dev on the side. Nice. I wrote a PS1 style 3D software renderer in C that pushed around 30,000 polygons. Not every leaf has to be a Canadian maple leaf, right? Well, this is just supposed to be like a little shoot or a little leaf or something. I don't know. What would be your advice for a new developer that wants to get a dev job, for example? Is it more about going on interviews or maxing your skills and making some projects for GitHub? You're not going to like this answer, but the most important thing is networking. That is the most important thing. Everything else is like a rounding error. I mean, obviously you need to demonstrate competency, but every job that I've ever gotten is because I knew somebody that could recommend me for the job. And of course, you know, like I said, I had to demonstrate competency as well. But when you are applying for a job where somebody who already works at that company knows you and will recommend you, you're automatically going to beat out all of the random cold applications, right? That's just the way the world works, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, obviously focus on the skills. You do have to be a competent programmer, and you could show your competence in a variety of ways, portfolio, GitHub projects, or whatever. But by far the most important thing is networking. That is by far the most important thing. And what networking looks like if you haven't worked in the industry yet. I mean, it could be as simple as like, you know, I know several people who have just like worked a day job as a waiter, and they get into conversation with the people who are dining at the restaurant, and they're like, oh, I have a degree in this or whatever. And the person says, hey, I actually have a job opening. Would you be interested in applying? You know, it's like stuff like that can work too. But I know that's not realistic for everyone, but yeah. Portfolio is the next best thing for sure. Portfolio is the next best thing. Also, even a little bit of tenacity, like when I do cold applications, so when I don't have a network connection, what I will do is I'll send in the application, then I'll find the person on LinkedIn and say, hey, I applied for this job. I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself and see if I'm a right fit. Following up, doing follow-up emails can help a lot. Like you know, you want to demonstrate that you actually want the job too. You can't just like send an application into the void through LinkedIn and then just like hope. You know, you should continue doing work to make you front of mind for the people that are hiring you. For me, just telling AI what I want to do is more than enough. For me, I ignore like 90% of what it says, but it keeps me focused. Yeah. I don't even look at college degrees when I hire devs. Yeah, many such cases. Also, it seems what the AI has been trained on is 100% bug-free, yeah. That they learn stuff on their own and they understand what they code, not just parroting what they were told. I ask questions you can't prepare for. Yes, that's a good one. It's all about solving problems. Code is just tools used to solve problems. Yeah, a lot of the technical interviews that I've been in have just been like whiteboard interviews. It's like, it's not even code. It's just like, design this system. One of the interviews that I had to do, which was actually for a very big company, which probably I shouldn't name, but one of the parts of the interview was a 4-hour interview, and one of the hours of the interview was basically design YouTube. that was the thing. Like, here's the whiteboard, design YouTube. Like design a system where people will upload videos. Those videos will get distributed to, you know, all of the subscribers or whatever. And that was very interesting. So anyway, AI is using almost as much water as golf courses. Might as well use AI to justify such waste. I don't really agree that water can be wasted unless you're in a drought-prone area. But maybe that's too controversial to say. Back from airplane stuff. Hello, Snupbill. They are salesmen. It's their product. Yep. You know, in Sprite, you could double-click a cell to select it. Yes. Yeah, I do know that. I'm not very good with hotkeys. They'll say that and then send the localhost IP telling you to test it. Yeah. All jobs I've gotten have been through recruiters. And I think in those cases, personability, yeah, recruiters are a good way too. I've had a number of leads go through recruiters. Yeah, personability is very, very important for sure. Needs to go outside and talk to people. Yes, you do have to go outside and talk to people. Unfortunately, that is going to be a huge boost to your ability to get hired. Com-sci students are talking to people is the most unrealistic part. Yeah, so here's the thing, like, I don't know, like, I've never really asked why people have hired me before, but I'm almost certain it's not because I'm, like, the world's best programmer. I think part of the reason is just because, like, I think I'm generally very easy to get along with, and I'm very collaborative. Like, I'm not one of these devs that's, like, super opinionated. It's like, my way is the highway, and, like, if you don't do it my way, then you're wrong. We've all worked with developers like that, and they're a pain in the rear to work with. So just not being that way is like a huge boost. Soft skills are important for a job too. You need to be able to communicate and work with a team. Yeah. Yeah. So one thing that I think when people are interviewing for jobs, when they go in for software, they are afraid that they have to get every interview question right. And like, if they don't get every interview question right, then it's automatic fail. But when I did that design YouTube exercise, I treated my interviewer as if they were a coworker that I was planning this with. So I said, well, here's the way that I would do this. And like, I can see that there would be certain problems with this. But like, what do you think of this overall approach so far? Like, do you think that this is a clean way of doing it? Is there a different way that you could see that could be modified? Like, I was treating them like, I wasn't treating the interviewer as somebody who was quizzing me and like I had to provide all the right answers. I was treating the interviewer as somebody that I would work with at the company to plan this feature. And that mindset change, I think, helps in interviews as well, because it shows, again, the soft skill of like, not just being able to collaborate, but the willingness to collaborate as well. Like, companies don't want heroes that just go off and build entire systems on their own. They want buy-in, they want multiple people looking at the big features. They want all that stuff too. So if you can demonstrate that even in an interview scenario, I think that's a huge help. Again, I don't have any hard data on this because the people who have extended me offers in the past have not said, we're hiring you because you asked questions in the interview, and no one ever did that before, right? These are just like hunches that I have based on what I did. If a company has a 4-hour interview, you probably don't want to work there. Well, this was a very, very big company that was one of the huge up-and-coming startups with massive growth and massive salaries. So, you know. So here's the other thing too. And this might ruffle some feathers, but everyone who doesn't want to do a 4-hour interview for a job is somebody that I don't have to compete with for that job. So even just being willing to take like a take-home project and do free labor for 10 hours or whatever, if some people look at that and say, no way I'm doing free labor, that's somebody that I don't need to compete with for the job. Like, they're just taking themselves out of the competition for me. And it's like, great. Now I can apply for this job relatively uncontested, right? And if you don't have a job, like, what else are you going to do? You know, like one time I think I spent like 12 hours on like a take-home interview test for one of the companies I applied for, and I didn't have anything else going on. So I was like, and I was having fun with it too. So I was like, I might as well just like, they said spend 2 hours on it, and I spent 12 because I was having fun with it. I was making it really good. And they extended an offer to me too. So it's like, yeah. So sorry to say, but yeah, if you're the kind of person that's like, I'm not doing a 4-hour interview, then that's good for me. No donation button. I'm in the process of changing my YouTube payout settings, so that's probably why. There are a number of cases where people have lost their water supply due to AI centers. When hiring at my job, I have a strict no a-holes policy, like Limp Bizkit. I contribute almost all of my career growth to soft skills. I suck at system design and LeetCode. I have no idea how software architectures work. Things like Docker are so off-putting. Feels more like filling in forms more than programming, and I hate it. Yeah, I don't like that either. Like the configuration side of things where it's just like change the configuration file and like redeploy it and see if it works, and then it doesn't, and then you have to change the config and redeploy it. Why don't I make mobile games? Because I don't like mobile games. I don't like anything about my mobile phone. I hate doing anything on my phone, so, and that includes games, so that's why. I think that's a good point, though I have encountered companies who have no intention of hiring anyone, but are still interviewing people and taking their time. Yeah, and I think, look, I mean, you have to be prudent too as an interviewee, right? Like, I wouldn't do a 4-hour interview for a no-name company that has like no growth and isn't explicitly hiring massive amounts of people. Like, I probably wouldn't do that. I'm not saying you should do every 4-hour interview that's thrown your way, but for this company and other companies that I did long interviews for, they were, as far as I could tell by researching ahead of time, like very, very good companies. So you do have to, like, you obviously don't want to get taken for a ride. I'm not suggesting that you should just do 4-hour interviews whenever they demand that of you. You have to make a judgment call, right? But I'm saying that a 4-hour interview shouldn't be an automatic no from you. It should depend on whether it looks like a good opportunity, whether they're serious about hiring, stuff like that. Hey, thank you, Potrill. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. You are a good game dev. I'm trying to be. Hello, Asymmetrics. Welcome back. Mostly lurking. That's all right. Good to see you. Hello, Talking Heads. Thanks so much for the Godot utilities. Use it for every project. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. Anyway, I guess we should stop chit-chatting, or I should stop chit-chatting and do this. What is the other ones I have? That's reagent, weapon, ritual. We need alchemical and relic. What does alchemical look like? I guess this would just be like a flask, right? If I can manage to do that. Oh gosh. I don't think that looks anything like a flask, but... Well, this is where having multiple colors would come in handy. Well, I could just do the classic mortar and pestle, or mortar and pestle, however you say it. Oh gosh. No, that works. Yeah, that's probably fine. Okay, now I need... What was the other one? Relic. What am I going to do for Relic? That's a tier, yeah. Fair enough. Nice green screen stuff, by the way. Thank you, Snubbill. Hello, Jhar. Welcome back. I presume you put another stream elsewhere also? Yeah, I've got it on Twitch. So if you go to twitch.tv/firebelly, you will see me live there as well. What about a vial instead of a flask? Kind of looks like a Minecraft splash potion shape. Yeah, I don't know if I have enough room to draw a vial or a flask or anything like that. I think this will work. We'll see. We'll see how these look in game. It's possible they just won't be that good. Now for a relic. What do I want to do for a relic? I'm almost thinking like just a very basic like... That looks like a cactus. Is this also going to look like a cactus? Oh, it looks like the... Oh, wait, this looks like the totem from Minecraft. We're just drawing Minecraft things today, I guess. What am I going to do for a relic? Make a Pokeball? Curious question, how many hours have you spent on this project? I'm trying to make the next fest deadline at April 27th, which means part-time I have 50 to 70 hours to make a demo. I couldn't tell you, honestly. I don't have any idea. I don't track the time, but if you assume, like, if you just say average 4 hours per day since March, like, if you take the total time I spent on a week and take the average, maybe it will average out to 4 hours or something like that. So however many, 4 hours a day times 365, because we're almost up on a year of development. So that would be what, like, 1,400 hours? Is that something like that? I would say it's probably over 1,000 hours at this point, but I don't know for sure. Do you organize like the things? How do you organize the things you have to do? Do you have a to-do list? Yeah, I have a to-do list here with Obsidian and Kanban. Hello, Cardo editor, by the way. What are some free alternatives to Aseprite? Well, you can compile Aseprite yourself and use it for free. So if you have technical knowledge, you could just go to the Aseprite GitHub and build it yourself. Free alternatives. I don't really know. I mean, you could try Krita or Krita. That could work. I'm sure there are other special made pixel art programs, but I'm not sure. Sounds like Twitch will eventually be allowing cross-platform chat, but does not seem official yet. Yeah, I saw that, yeah. Hello, Grandra. I always see relics as like goblets from a treasure pile. Ooh, a goblet is a good idea. We could do a goblet. I think we can do a goblet anyway. Well, that looks more like a wine glass, but I think that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. That looks fine to me. Good suggestion, thank you. Okay, so we've got our tag icons now. Let's update the tag label first, because I'm going to put the icons here as well so that you can know texture rect. Here, we will do a new atlas texture. What am I doing? New atlas texture. I'm away from Godot for 1 day, and then it becomes impossible for me to do anything. Tag icons, edit region, grid snap. 9.9. We'll just put this here. I'm going to change this a little bit. Let's see. Layout, transform, or container sizing, shrink center, shrink center. Okay, and then we will just give this a custom minimum size of 9.9. Okay, and this HBox container, let's do a separation of 2 instead. Actually, I wonder if we might be able to just do a spacing of 0 here. Oh, that might be not enough. All right, let's just see what that does. There has to be a way to tell how much time you spend on a project somehow with Git. Well, I don't know, because, you know, it's like, even if you were like, yeah, there's just no time, right? Like, because if I don't commit for a day, does that mean I spent a day working on it? Or is that just because I didn't do anything for a day? Paint.net is free, but it's not specifically about sprite artwork. This actually doesn't look center. I think this label needs to be custom minimum size 11, and then, oh, that's change. Let's see. I don't really like this. 11. What do I change the, oh, here we go. Vertical alignment bottom. So that looks better to me, but then there's a bunch of extra space. Can I change this this tag label here? Theme overrides, styles. Okay, this style box texture here. I can't change the content margin. Oh, this is not being used. So I can clear this, right? What? Why can't I edit this? Okay, that was weird. Okay, let's just manually change this then. These content margins, let's do left 1, bottom 1, right 1. Okay. I think that should roughly work. Let's see. That's 3 pixels. That's 4 pixels. So maybe I don't do 1 on the bottom. 3, 3. And these should be aligned here. Okay. Let's see what that does. Picky editor was nice. So 1,400 hours, damn. Luckily my game is smaller scope, but I'd care if I'll make it if that's how many hours you put into this. Well, I mean, the other thing to understand too is that my game has quite a lot of scope, contrary to what I originally wanted it to be. And also, like, I'm doing all of this artwork, which is not, like, the quickest thing in the world. And also, I've had to redo and redesign a bunch of the systems. So, if I knew what I was doing up front, probably would take a lot less time to get to this point, but I think that's, like, if you have only 50 to 70 hours, then that's where scope management becomes really important. You can get a lot done in 50 to 70 hours, for sure. Like, you can make a game that sells quite well on Steam in, like, a total of 100 hours. But that requires that you make the game small enough and cut the scope enough that you can actually accomplish that. I did not do that so well in this game. I don't know why that looks off to me. That looks better, even though it's technically not mathematically aligned. That looks better to me. Okay, we'll just go with that. Okay, so icon texture rect. So we're going to want to change this. Public void set tag. Label.text is equal to description utils. Create card tag keyword. No, I don't want to do that. How do I want to do this here? So we're going to get the tag set, the icon set here first, and then we'll take whatever that code is. So I'm probably going to want description utils, public static string tag to icon. card tag to icon. We're going to do texture 2D. I think I might create a new folder in here. Texture. Create new resource. Atlas texture. Card tag minion. I might have to do this for each one. Let's see. I don't really know if this is going to work well, but let's just actually save as card tag minion. Okay. We will change this here. Duplicate card tag ritual. We want to, is this going to be unique? I guess this will be, right? So ritual is this one. Okay, duplicate card tag reagent. Okay. Duplicate card tag weapon. Duplicate card tag relic. And then we have alchemical. Okay, so then what we'll do is we'll do private const string tag icon directory res resources texture. Card tag to icon, card tag tag. I believe an Atlas texture extends texture 2D, right? I mean, it should, yeah, it does. Okay. Oops. So we're just going to load it from the path based on the name. That should be okay. And then we'll go to tag label. We'll say, I don't know why I closed the tag label. Icon texture rect. Icon texture rect. Icon texture rect dot texture is equal to description utils card tag to icon tag. So now I have this method, which I can call in any other context that I need to set this up, but let's just see if this works. I heard about Godot having problems with the new developers uploading AI slop to source code. Yeah. People on Reddit did not like my suggestion to handle that, but maybe I won't restate that. Okay, so the cool thing about this is that it's not working. Oh, because this needs to be card tag. Can you say the name of the app you use to make the to-do list, but say it slow because it's hard for me to understand the name clearly? Sorry for my English. It is called Obsidian. Then you start thinking about the time too much, yeah. I just don't want to add like more stuff to my process, you know. I don't want to like start up VS Code and then have to make sure to start the timer. But the problem too is like, is that really going to give you an accurate result? Let's say the timer automatically started, but I just opened up VS Code because I was going to go work on my game, and then I walked away and like got sidetracked for a half hour or an hour. Like, I'm not sure if it's going to be super accurate anyway, so I don't really see the point. I mean, yeah, it would be cool to know. It would definitely be cool to know, but it's not so cool to know that I'm interested in adding a bunch of stuff to my process to track it, you know what I mean? Okay, I think that works. Yeah, that looks fine. The training dummy should have all of them. Cool. Microslop. You can use LibreSprite, yeah. Why don't I use GDScript? Personal preference. Why are you drinking from a comically tankard looking cup? Because it's a comically tankard looking cup. Also, it has the this cool little like emblem on it, which is very like thematic for, oh gosh. Which is very thematic for Alka Mortis. So the reason why I drink out of this is because it's cool. Also, it has an amazing ability to keep coffee warm for a very long time because it's super thick ceramic. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break here, and then when I come back, we're going to take this code that I just did, and we're going to add only the icons to the card tooltip. So hopefully that will be okay, but we'll see. But I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, like I said, and then when I come back, we will continue on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the delay. When making singletons, do you make an instance in a static block of the same class, or do you use a private constructor? I think typically, I could be wrong. But I think typically you would do if you're going to have a true singleton, then you would either do it in like a static constructor, or I think you would also maybe lazy initialize it. Like you wouldn't actually create the singleton until you create the first instance of the class. So I think those are the two ways to do it. Like the first time a class is ever instantiated, you assign the singleton value to that instance. Or you just have like a purely static class that serves as a singleton. I think those are the two main ways to do it. In Godot, it's a little bit weird because like the singletons that I use that are also nodes, they have to be added to the scene tree first. So I will do the, like if I look at my game speed manager, this instance is not assigned. Oh, do I not have an instance for this? Well, game events has an instance. So this can't be a static class because it has to be a node so it can emit signals, but the instance is assigned as soon as it's instantiated. So it's kind of like a little bit of both, you know what I mean? Anyway. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not like an expert on singletons. I think there's a number of ways to do them. Anyway, card tooltip. So where are we going to put these icons then? Probably above this, right? Above the stat container. So if I do add child node here, hbox container. This can be the tag container. Access as unique name. We could just save this as a scene. So maybe I'll rename this to tag icon. Tag icon. We'll save this as a scene. Save branch as scene. Yeah, we'll just save it in there. Tag icon. We will attach a script to this as well, just because. Public void set tag. So this may be a little bit overkill, but the reason I'm doing this is because I want to use this as an instance placeholder. So this can become tag icon. So the reason I split that out as a scene is because what I can do now is in my card tooltip, I can instantiate the tag icon here, call this tag icon placeholder, and then load this as placeholder. And then we can access that as unique name. Instance placeholder tag icon placeholder. So clear. Ability container dot remove and queue free children. That doesn't work. Okay, so for each var child, I guess I do need a reference to this tag container here. Tag container. Tag container. Okay, for each var child in tag container dot get children of type tag icon. Okay, so show tooltip. How are the tag labels created? we'll just do this up here. We'll create the tag labels first. So for each var card tag and enum get values card tag. If card.card.definition.resource.tags has flag, we're going to do tag label placeholder. Did I not? Oh, tag icon placeholder. Tag icon placeholder as tag icon. And there we go. All right, let's see what happens. It's probably not going to look super good like that, but we'll think about it. Roblox development taught me that singleton management is very important. Singletons frequently have a lot of dependencies there and need to be initialized manually one by one, not automatically. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how Roblox expects things to go. I don't really like the icons being there. I almost wonder if they should be up here instead. The problem is, like, if I have a very long card name, how's that going to work? Where do I put those? What is the hardest part about game dev for you? Definitely the actual game design. I mean, the art is hard to do as well, but making a game where all the systems are created just right so that players find it engaging and want to keep playing, that is the hardest part for sure. And it's also hard because that's more of like a... There's almost like no rule book for that. I don't mean to say that there are no rules for game design, but it's like... It's very hard to get the systems of incentives and disincentives right with the mechanics of your game to create the experience that you want the player to have. It's like... It's kind of like a weird mix of like... Yeah, there are objectively good and bad things you can do for game design, but then what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a subjective experience, right? You're trying to create an experience that a certain type of player is going to enjoy. So it's just, I don't know, it's just very, very hard to nail that down. But that's why playtests, I think, are super important. The thing that I'm doing differently with this game compared to Gunforged is that I'm putting it in front of people more often and getting feedback and actually acting on that feedback. And I could see that that's already making a huge difference in how fun and engaging this game is. So, yeah, I mean, we live in an age where if you can get an audience for your game and you can ask people to play it, that can dramatically help you with the game design. So, that's good. But it's still a challenge. It's not easy at all. What am I going to do with this? Also, UI UX is a really big issue for me. Where am I going to put this? Kind of looks weird no matter where I put it. I could put it up here. Let's see what that does. What do you think is your best skill in this field? Oh, for sure, programming. That's the thing I'm most comfortable with. Like, I don't really struggle to implement the systems that I want to implement from a technical standpoint. That's not to say that nothing is hard. It just means that like, I very rarely struggle with getting the actual systems built and working as I intend them to work from a technical standpoint. I don't have much difficulty like avoiding spaghettification of my code, fixing bugs, that sort of thing. I don't really know what to do with this. I don't want to put it up there, that would look weird. What if I copy this? Maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll just copy the style box texture here. This is a panel container. Let's add a panel container here. Nope, not panel. Do I have to change the modulate of this? Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do self-modulate. I don't think that's going to look good either. Man, the tech world has so much AI now, yeah. Is the separator missing in game? No, that separator only shows up if there's a scroll bar. So if a card is long enough to have a scroll bar, that's where the separator comes in. I may need to modify this. I don't know if this is going to work. Make unique. Let's just make this -1 all around. We don't need that anymore. Okay, maybe that will work. I don't know what to do about these tag displays on the tooltip. I mean, that looks better. Maybe I do want this up here, though. So I match the card inspector. Yeah. How do we feel about that? Does that look decent? The God mode doesn't have a tag, so it's not showing up. I don't know. What do we think about this? Does this look all right? What happens if I go to this? So this one has all the tags. I think that looks decent. What is the spacing here on this VBox container? 4? So maybe I'll just do that here then. So this will be part of the title, so this will be above the divider, but it will look like it's part of the same spacing. I think that works. So that is minion and ritual. I guess it's going to take a little bit of work for the players to associate that, but the other thing that I could do is, now that I have those icons, I can actually put that icon into anywhere where I'm using a minion tag. So like here, minion critical chance, I could put the icon in there as well. Maybe let's try that. How am I actually doing that though? Highlight keywords. I think I have like a create card tag keyword. Yeah. Okay. How am I actually creating that tag image? If icon only, so image tuple item 2. So I need this and create card tag keyword. Where is this done? Oh. For each of our tag. What is this create card tag keyword? Oh, okay. So this is actually being done here. Game constants, create color. Do I need this? I wonder if I could just put this up here and make this easier. So I could do, let me just try it with minion first. Game constants.color blue. Blue. The icon is, can I do this from here? Get tag, what did I call it? Dang it, what did I call it? Hard tag to icon. Ah, it's not gonna let me do that. Oh, this has to be a string. Oh, I see. Does that work? I don't know. Let's see. I missed the start of the stream to understand what these icons are for, but I think a pop-up quick reference for icon meaning would be nice. I know you're trying to minimize text though. Yeah, I might have to do that. You wouldn't mind icons for tooltip full text icon for inspection. That's what's being done. Yeah. Welcome back, Jack at Daytona, or were you here before? I think I missed your it's game dev time once again message. Unless you just got here, in which case, welcome. Always good to see you. That did not work. Can I not get the UID of this resource? Okay, that's fine. Let's just, we don't need to make it more fancy than it is. Copy UID here. Const string icon, tag icon minion UID. Let's just get rid of this for now. Maybe that was being a problem, actually. Let's see. So I could just define all those minion tags myself in the keyword list there. Hey, look at that. Minion critical chances increased by 15%. Now, I wonder if there's a way to change... Is there a way to change the image width? I need to look at the image tag for BBCode. Try to fit that with maintaining the aspect ratio. V-align. I don't really want any of that. Makes text easy. Well, that's the current width. What happens if I do width 7? Is that going to crunch it down? What I want is the icon, the image is affecting the text flow, but I want it to be the same height as the line height. Let's just change this to 1 to make it really obvious. Do I need to put pixels in there? Image equals, oh wait, image equals width by height. Oh, I see it. I didn't do it right. It's time for Jackie Daytona once again, yes. Hello, the malicious rabbit. Sorry, I'm still a newer viewer, so the point of the game dev process... So what point of the game dev process would you say Alchemortis is in? Do you have all that main gameplay done and now you're just adding all the stuff UI polish? Yeah, I think I want to do another round or two of playtesting, but I think the mechanics are generally solidified. I want to get feedback on the new... So I overhauled the way the map works recently to solve a couple of problems with the old map from the old playtests. And so I haven't validated that yet, either through like much personal playtesting or through public playtesting. But I think it's going to be better. I think people are going to like it. And if that is the case, then yeah, we're kind of in the stage of development where the remaining issues are just balance, content, and, you know, tweaking, like I said, the incentives and disincentives a little bit, like refining the game design. But all of the major stuff is basically done, barring, you know, people hating the new map layout and me having to redo that again. But we're not going to be seeing many, if any, new, like, major features. So at this point, yeah, it's just like getting the game ready to go, getting a demo build out. I would say that's probably my next objective. So after validating or not validating this with playtests, let's assume that it goes well. People like the new map layout, but, you know, there are just some things here and there that I can do to make it even more compelling. So assuming that that goes well, then the next stage is basically to work towards a demo build, which is just going to be, you know, putting a playable demo up on the Steam page that's always available, that people can try the game for like a run with very limited options to see if they like it. That kind of thing. What will be the price? more to come on that. I can't say anything about that right now, but there are big things in store ahead for Alka Mortis, so hold on to the edge of your seat because something should be coming very soon. Demo when? I'm hoping that a demo can be done within a couple months, but we'll have to see. All things considered, I'm very close to being able to just make a publicly playable demo build, I think. Very close, but I just want to, like, first impressions are everything, right? So before I put a demo build up, I want to make sure the game is as good as it can be, even if it's lacking all the content, because I could put the demo build up before all the content is in the game. So mostly it's just going to be a matter of focusing on getting it feeling as tight and as fun as possible, and then stuffing the game full of content for release. Slay the Spire 2 is around the corner, maybe Winterfest. We'll see. Like I said, there are big things coming for Alka Mortis very soon, so I can't say more, but you'll find out in relatively short order, I think. So this is working. That's not working. Why is 1 by 1 not working? It does maintain the aspect ratio. So basically the problem here is that, I mean, maybe it's not a problem. Let me go back to this. Oops. Image table and vertical alignment. Is center the default? Oh. Does that work? I don't know. We have romance in Alka Mortis. Color me interested. All right. We have necromancy, but we don't have normal romancy. I don't like how I have to rerun the game every time here. What am I going to do about this icon? It's just not situated properly in the text here. This 1 by 1 doesn't seem to do anything. I might ask the AI in Godot BBCode for rich text label. I want to show icons next to my keywords. Controlling. Let's see. What in the heck? Uh-oh. Oh no, that's fine. Why does it keep asking me to reauthorize? Oh, now I gotta do this. The Copilot integration in VS Code is definitely better than the Claude integration, but that's okay. Feel vampires would prefer it that way? Yeah. That's true. I read Claude is having Claude is having problems. A lot of stuff is having problems this morning. I tried to pay my mortgage this morning, and the bank said that my transfer was rejected, and I was like, "What? Why are you rejecting my money?" But something else was not working too. It was Claude, it was my bank. Oh. Yeah, there was another thing too, but it doesn't matter. Another reason not to vibe code, yeah. I mean, maybe that is a good reason to vibe code. You know, like, you know how when you're at a software job and like GitHub is down and you basically can just take the afternoon off because, oh, can't do anything without GitHub, right? So maybe if your entire project is vibe coded and Claude goes down, you could be like, oh, sorry, boss, can't work right now. You know? You get some free time off. If my computer is compiling, I'm working, yeah. I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not. Like those days where GitHub would be down for a couple hours was awesome because it was just like, oh, I'm just gonna chill for a little bit. Why aren't you working? Oh, I can't. I need to check out this branch, but I can't. GitHub's down. What is this thing doing? Claude is going to all kinds of sources here. I need to get out of the habit of vibe coding. I try not to, but when I run into an issue, I don't really do my due diligence to solve it on my own. And I like to lean on Claude's debugging. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough balance to strike, right? You know, I think if you are going to do that kind of like vibe code of like snippets of code, one thing that can help is if you do nothing else, just take the extra step of asking the AI tool to explain in detail the fix and why it works. If you do nothing else, at least do that, and that should help, right? I mean, obviously it's ideal if you can like read through the code and like try to understand it yourself, but if you don't feel like even doing that step, then at least just ask the AI to like lay out exactly why the fix works. And that's better than nothing, I think. Well, just to make sure it's working right now, make a payment on my house. Yeah, okay. I'll do that. Send your account and routing number, please. Thank you. Don't do that. Please, YouTube, don't ban me. I'm not actually asking for the bank details of my viewers. I'm not actually doing that. Please don't ban me. Anyway, Claude really likes to Google search. ChatGPT ignores Google even when I specifically ask to use it. Yeah. Icon needs to be 9 by 9, but I want it offset upwards by 1 or 2 pixels. Maybe I should have specified this. I can read the code and have a pretty good idea of what it's doing, but not enough to recreate it later without needing to have AI write it again. Most of my prompts are like, this is what I want to do. I have no idea how it can be done. How would you do it? Unfortunately, that applies to a lot right now. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I can say anything useful. I mean, obviously, I learned programming before LLMs were a thing, so I don't know how you would approach, like... I don't want to be like a boomer and say, well, just don't use the LLMs before you understand what you're doing, because I don't think that's going to be realistic going into the future, right? I think even employers are going to expect you to have some proficiency using the AI tools. So it's good to learn how to use those too. But is it appropriate to recommend that somebody don't use AI tools until they're proficient in programming? I don't know. Like it's a brand new thing. I don't know what the learning process is going to be like for people who are newer to development. Obviously, purely vibe coding and having no idea what's going on is not appropriate, but at the same time, there's a part of me that feels like it's also not appropriate to say never use the LLMs until you understand what you're doing. So I don't know. It's a tricky problem. I know what E equals MC squared means too, but I wouldn't be able to invent it. Yeah. I calculate missile defenses and launches. Yeah. I'm worried about programming dementia with a reliance on LLMs. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of weird things happening. But I think, like my sense from talking to my friends who are currently employed as software engineers is that basically every company is asking their engineers to use AI assisted code tools. And so if you come to a job application and say, well, I know how to program, but I don't know how to use the AI tools, is that going to be a negative on your resume, right? Or a negative in the interview stage? Maybe your best bet is to go work for like a very big, like enterprisey company, because those behemoths are slow and they don't adopt new tools very quickly. So maybe that's the place to start. I don't think this is going to do what I want, but let's see. Tech priests are the future. Do you use Claude Pro? I do, yes. I'm a Zennial, but I still prefer to use the AI like autocomplete. And can I usually spot when something doesn't smell right, but that just comes with experience? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'm applying to companies I think who won't ever use much AI, like banking or critical embedded stuff. Yeah, that's probably a good approach too. I get LLMs and all that, but what are these friends things you mentioned? Yeah. I do have friends, as shocking as it might seem. I don't think I'm going to be able to do what I want to do with this stuff. So the core problem here is like this icon is like offset to the bottom, and I don't want that to be the case. I want it to be shifted up a little bit, but I don't know. What do my other icons look like? Icon debuff. So this is also 9x9, but I have a version with no outline. This is a little bit wonky. So, I mean, this technically fits onto the line, but I mean, maybe it's all right. Maybe I don't need to worry about it too much. Is there a way to change the spacing between the icon and the following text? Oh wait, am I changing the wrong spot? Oh, this is icon only. Oh. Oops. I was in the wrong spot the entire time. That would explain why I wasn't seeing much difference. Okay, that's definitely wrong. It's not going to work either. Font size equals 3 font size. I could try that. Let's try removing the space first and see. This is just not working at all. Unless I changed the height of it, but I think that's going to actually stretch it if I'm not mistaken. Or squash it, rather. Was not expecting to spend this much time on icons today. Oh, look at that. It's a derpy skull now. Alright, well. We probably don't need this anymore. But does the lack of spacing look good? What's the difference between GitHub's Copilot versus Claude Code for VS Code? Well, Copilot goes through GitHub. So you pay for your Copilot subscription and then you have access to all the models. Like you can use Claude Opus and stuff, but that counts towards like your premium request quota. And once you exceed the premium request quota for the month, you either have to do a pay-as-you-go plan afterwards or you just don't get any more premium requests. And I found myself relying on Claude for the most part, so I decided to just cancel my Copilot subscription. Not cancel, but like not pay for the premium requests, and instead just use Claude, which has much more generous limits. But they're basically the same. Is it aligning with the text shadow? It may be. I think the problem is that the text, you know, like the Y and G characters go under the baseline. I don't remember what that's called. So the icon looks a little bit weird because it's not aligned. Like ideally what I wanted to do with the icon is have it aligned to the bottom of like, I wish I could highlight this, but have the icon aligned to the bottom of like a normal character that doesn't have like the Y or the G or the J hook part. But I don't think I can do that with BBCode, so that's a problem. Did this make a difference at all? Hello, Black Monolith. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. I think that did make a slight difference. Do I want to do this font size hack? I kind of do. Awesome style, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I would say that probably looks better, at least. So it creates a space here, but then because the font size is being changed, the space is actually less space. So it moves the icon a little bit closer to the keyword, but I still can't align the icon vertically the way that I want it to. Is there an opportunity to use a custom text effect that does a vertical offset to an icon? So anyway, I gotta do the icons for all the other keywords. Oh, that didn't work either. Why is that not working? Projects the ritual tag to adjacent cards. That is my... How did I break that? Oh, I guess here it's broken. Oh, right, because I didn't add the ritual here, so that's why. So if I add all my minion tag or my card tags here and then do the icons for them, that should be okay. Did you do the graphics or just asset pack? No, all the graphics are done by me by hand, pixel by pixel. Well, pixel by pixel is not exactly accurate because, you know, I will like mirror things, but I think you get the point, right? It's like I am hand pixeling everything. The only part of the art style that was not my original creation was the color palette. I got the color palette off of low spec. So that's the only piece of the art that was not original to my effort, but everything else, yes. Will they ever add live components info while playing, like in Unity where you could change the positions and all the other stuff in the inspector to see to test stuff? I think I could do that right now. I think that does exist. Like you can go to the remote scene tree and see the scene tree as it exists in the game. And I think you can edit at least certain properties in there, but trying to find the node that I want to edit among my massive tree of things is a little bit difficult. Plus the fact that it's inside of a tooltip, which is hidden and shown dynamically based on the mouse position. So I don't even know if I'd be able to do that. I guess I could pause the game. That still wouldn't help, but anyway. A custom rich text effect won't work for this. Char FX transform only processes text glyphs. Inline image elements are rendered as embedded objects, not glyphs. Texture padding. Add 1 to 2 pixel transparent padding at the bottom of each icon. The combos bottom baseline versus center give coarse positioning but not pixel level control. I mean, we can try. Could try that. Embed icons as glyphs in a custom font, then rich text effect would work on them, but this is a much larger effort. Yeah, you're not kidding me there, Claude. You're not kidding me. Well, we might just have to deal with it being the way it is for now. Center doesn't do anything. Bottom center is the opposite of what I want. Thank you, Black Monolith. I like how the color palette looks. It's very thematic and fits the game. Thank you, thank you. Huh? Yeah. Have you tried v-align equals baseline? I have not. Oh, that's a little bit closer. Oh, I guess I am doing that. V-align baseline. Yeah, so bottom baseline. What happens if I do center baseline? I'm just guessing here. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It's a little bit weird. What happens if I do baseline here? No, that won't work, will it? Nope. I don't really think there's a way of getting it the way that I want it to. I might have to play with this some more, but let's focus on getting the other icons in place first. And then we'll see what we're dealing with from there. But I'm going to take another quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will add the rest of the icons and we'll see how that looks. All right, I'm back. Is it aligning the center of the icon with the text baseline or what? I honestly couldn't tell you. I think the docs are a little bit unclear on how that alignment works. I think the problem is it's probably borrowing like some very standard alignment stuff and assuming that you already know how the alignment works. It doesn't, the docs don't go through the process of explaining like what baseline means and like what center means. I think it's probably referencing some kind of standard that I'm not super familiar with. So that's probably part of the reason why I'm not understanding it. But if Claude, the super genius AI model, can't help me, then it might be a lost cause. Let's just go down the list, I guess. Tag. Alchemical. Oh, you know what? I need to plug my mouse into it's dying. Well, let's see if it lasts. Reagent, UID. Relic UID. That is quite a UID right there. MNMNMN. Ritual. I think I'm generally going to do more work adding icons to these tags throughout the game. I think somebody provided the feedback that like they want to see different icons for like all the different debuff types and stuff. So I may do more work on just making sure that every keyword has like a unique icon. I think that would be good. Okay. I don't think I need this anymore. Do I need this create card tag keyword? Yes. Okay. So let's see if this works. Projects the ritual tag to adjacent cards. Apply 1 fire per adjacent ritual card. There you go. Now it looks like there's a lot of extra space between the word and the icon now. Shoot. Wonder if I should just get rid of this font size thing. Put the normal space back. Oops, I didn't mean to close that. I may need to come up with a different solution. If I want to get these all aligned perfectly, then I probably will need to do something different for this. What exactly that looks like, I don't know, but I kind of do like the icons being closer to the text. I think that looks fine. Anyway, so now we've got icons for the minion tags, which is good. And then I'm showing the tag icons in the tooltip as well. Okay. Well, I think that's good. I mean, I think that is a noticeable improvement to the game. I'm going to just cheat a little bit here and do add icons for minion tags. Since I technically did that as an additional piece of effort, now I can mark 2 things as done. Look at that. Okay. Add card tag icons to descriptions and card tooltip. There we go. All right, let's see what else we can do. Well, actually, you know what? I unfortunately forgot I have a meeting to attend in about 18 minutes here. So I actually forgot about that until just a few minutes ago. So unfortunately, I don't think I have time to do anything else, but I may be streaming later this afternoon. So if you want to catch me then, if you want to catch me outside, and I want to remember that, you can do so by joining the Discord. I always put notifications of when I'm going live in the Discord. But of course, if you follow me on Twitch as well, you'll get that notification when I go live on Twitch. And for those of you that don't know who are watching on YouTube, I do stream at Twitch as well at the same time, so I'm multi-streaming. So if you prefer the Twitch viewing experience, you can definitely go to twitch.tv/firebelly to see that. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for being here. Appreciate all the support and chatting with all of you. It's always fun. And yeah, Wishlist Alchemortis on Steam if you're interested. That would help me out a lot. You can also check out the Patreon, check out my Udemy courses if you're interested in learning how to make games in the Godot engine. And yeah, we'll see if I do another stream this afternoon. If I do, I hope to see you there. Otherwise, have a great day, and I will be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right, thanks again, everybody, and have a good day. Have a good day, and bye-bye.